Vayichan sham Yisrael neged ha'har, ahoy kulanu ke'echad.
Usvatem lochem mimochos ha-Shabbos, miyoim aviachem esoim ha'atnufa. This is the posuk of the mitzvah of Sfira. Usvatem lochem mimochos ha-Shabbos. Chazal tell us that the word Shabbos does not mean Shabbos. It means Chag. It means the festival. So Sfira Sa'ima is on the Mochos HaShabbos, the second day after Yom Tov. The Tzdukim say Shabbos means Shabbos. It's used Mitzrayim with Shabbos. And Mochos HaShabbos means Shabbos. But we go after Chazal, and Chazal say Mochos HaShabbos means the second day after second day of Pesach. The question is, of course, a simple question. If it means Chag, if it means festival, so why did the Torah write Shabbos? So it should say Mimochos HaPesach, Mimochos HaChag, but not Mimochos HaShabbos. I'm going to share with you a word of Rab Tzadok HaKohen. Rab Tzadok HaKohen writes the following, and he explains this by defining more closely the nature of the Kedusha of Shabbos. So Rab Tzadok HaKohen says, the sanctity of Shabbos is an eternal and changeless sanctity. It's a matana min hashamayim, it's a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the time of creation, unaffected by any human factor. It's a sarusa de leila. It's an awakening, revelation, totally from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all meleilo, nothing to do with us at all. The Chagim, the festivals, on the other hand, depend largely on human decision for their sanctity. The power is vested in the Beit Din to rule on the choice of these days. They're Makadosh l'Chodesh. And Hashem, as it were, ratifies their decision and grants Kedusha to their ruling. We are told in the Medrash, in Shir Shirim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Klal Yisrael, Pischu li kepischoi shemachat, v'ani eftach lochem kepischoi shelulam. Make for me an opening like the eye of a needle, and I shall make for you a space like a great hall. Pischoi shelulam. Man has only to make the smallest indication of his desire to come close to Hashem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds with a generosity that exceeds the tiny gesture of man. Similarly, when the Beit Din in Yerushalayim has only got to make a decision of fixing the day of the festival, it's a movement towards Kedusha, towards sanctity. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu showers forth from his treasury of Kedusha on that chosen day. It is, however, man's action that triggers off, as it were, the divine blessing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the sphere of Yom Tov, Hashem waits on man. His gift is dependent on the human gesture that begs for it. You know the difference between the bracha we make on Shabbos and the bracha we make on Yom Tov. Shabbos you say, Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbos. The Almighty sanctified the Shabbos. When it comes to Yom Tov, you don't say Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaZmanim. You say Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Yisrael HaZmanim. It needs our human gesture and our begging for it Then that's called the Isarusa de la Tata. Isarusa de la Tata means an awakening which starts from us, starts from below. That means we start it, we trigger it off, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu grants his Kedusha. So the difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov is the following. Shabbos is kula mila'elo, Isarusa de la'elo. It's a sanctity totally from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No human factor involved in it. Yom Tov already has a human factor involved in it. It's Arusa de la Tata. Starts from us. We trigger it off, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives his gift of the Kedusha. Usvatem lochem mimochas HaShabbos. The Torah refers to the day when they left Mitzrayim, Shabbos, to show the particular Kedusha of this festival of Pesach. A Kedusha independent of all human agency, sharing with the Shabbos the nature of an unsolicited gift of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, the word Pesach means leaping. Madale gale horim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu leapt over the mountains. He bestowed on Klal Yisrael the power to ascend to unimagined heights of Kedusha, heights that were certainly not, they couldn't have attained on their own accord. It was the Isarusa de la Elah. Only in this way could they come to deserve the miracles of Geula, of redemption, inspired to a spiritual vision and purity that carried them through the events of that day. This was a day like Shabbos, a sheer gift of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, unaffected by any human factor. It was this Harusa Mila'elo. Then came the morrow. Sfatim Lachem Mimochas HaShabbos. What does morrow mean? The revelation was withdrawn. And now they had to strive for themselves to retain the vision of the previous day, the clarity with which they had seen HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the 49 days of the Sphira, they had to make a human effort to justify the pitch which HaKadosh Baruch Hu had raised them, and to show that they had been worthy of redemption. And this is the task of the Yemei Sphira, a process of ever-increasing Kedusha of sanctity, fought for and won without the assistance of supernatural manifestations. Interesting. Every Isarusa de la Elah, every miraculous manifestation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu has after it an Nisoyin. A Nisoyin means a test to prove that we were worthy to the pitch that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had raised us. And our story is told of the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon was sent a Malach to teach him Torah. The Beis Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Kara, wrote a sefer called Magid Meishorim, where he wrote the Torah which the Malach had taught him. A Magid had taught him. And when the Malach came to the Gaon refused. He didn't want it. So Rab Chaim Volozhin, in his sefer, Sifra de Tzinusa, Rab Chaim Volozhin explains, why did the Gaon refuse the Malach? Malach must teach you Torah. So he said because he wanted Torah only which he had acquired through his own effort. So Rab Dessler, so he doesn't understand. If a Malach comes Vina Shemaim, it means Vina Shemaim, they want to teach you Torah. Why refuse it? So Rab Dessler said the following, very interesting. He said, our Torah of a Malach is a Isarusa, it's an awakening, Mila'elo. If you can give your Pischa Shemachat, if you can offer your part, then the Ribono Shel Olam will give you his part. Pischa Shemachat, you'll get Pischa Shalula. But the Gaon was such an honor, he didn't feel he had anything to offer. And therefore he felt, when the Balach taught him, it was a Sarusa de Laila. If you get to a Sarusa de Laila, there's going to be a Nisoyan. There's going to be a Machas where he left. And he was afraid he wouldn't be able to withstand the Nisoyan. So he didn't accept it. But this, the difference between Isarusa de Laila and Isarusa de Latatra. So, Mitzrayim, Pesach time, Nisan, this was a time of supernatural manifestations. Isarus de Laila, Kulum Hashem. We didn't do anything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. But then after that comes a Nisoyan. So we have 49 days to work and to try hard with our own effort to regain that revelation which we saw at the time of Pesach. And then if we can do that, we're ready for Kabbalah Satayim. Let me therefore just share with you one word. There's a Gemara in Psochim, where the Gemara in Psochim says that when there's Shabbos, on Mois Shabbos, you've got to make Havdalah. If Mois Shabbos is Yom Tov, you also make Havdalah. Yak Nahaz, Yain, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah. What about Besomim? Mois Shabbos, and it's Yom Tov. You make Besomim. So Tosfos brings a Rashbam, that the Rashbam says, why do we make Besomim? Because every Yid, when it comes to Shabbos, is granted a new dimension of spirituality, and a Neshama Yisayach. And this Neshama Yisayach is withdrawn, Motzei Shabbos, and you feel spiritually faint. You have to revive yourself. Besomim is Meishiv Nefesh. If you take Besomim to revive yourself spiritually. So Tosfos says in the name of the Rashbam that on Yom Tov there's also Neshama Yisayach. So if Motzei Shabbos is Yom Tov, they haven't lost anything. The Neshama Yisayach stays. So you don't make Boimim and Besomim. So Tosfos asks a kasha. If that is so, every time Motzei Yom Tov, we should make Besomim as well. We don't make Besomim Motzei Yom Tov, only Motzei Shabbos. And therefore Tosfos says, no, there's no Neshama Yisayach on Yom Tov. And therefore the question is, why don't you make Boimim and Besomim Motzei Shabbos when it's Yom Tov? So Tosfos says the Kedusha of Yom Tov, the Simcha of Yom Tov, the Achila, the Shtia, this compensates like Besomim. Like Besomim compensates and is Meishiv Nefesh, the Simcha of Yom Tov is also Meishiv Nefesh. The Ramban in his Ksovim writes that Yom Tov has also got a Neshama Yisayach. So the question, if there's a Neshama Yisayach, so why don't you make Motzei Yom Tov Boilim in Besomim? And the teretz was given by the Sfas Emes, and he says the following. Shabbos is a Sarusa de Laila, is something which is given as a gift by Kadosh Baruch Hu. No human factor involved in it. Yom Tov is a Sarus de Latata, Pischeli Kepischa Shemacha. We trigger it off. Whatever a person does, and whatever effort a person makes, even if he gets because of that the Pischa Shalulam, but it becomes his, and you don't lose it. And therefore, Motzei Yom Tov, although there's a Neshama Yisayach, but that Neshama Yisayach came because of your effort, because you triggered it off. You begged for it. You wanted it. That was a move towards being closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's our Pischa Shemachat. Therefore, the Pischa Shemachat, when it comes to Motzei Yom Tov, doesn't go away. Your being kindness stays with you. And this is my message to all of you. We've gone through Pesach, we've gone through the Sfira, we're up to Kabbalah's HaTorah. You should know one thing. Whatever effort you make in Torah, whatever effort you make in coming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to Vayichan Hashem, that's ours. Nobody will take it away. And therefore my bracha is, Im Yitzshem Zolom, Kabbalah's HaTorah, and Im Yitzshem, our efforts for Torah, for mitzvahs, for masim tovim should be a Pesach Shemachat, and we should be zoicha to a Pesach Shalom. Thank you very much.
כאיש אחד,